Here at 2 to You, that's Laura Branigan out of 1983 and a song called Solitaire, just on 12 to 8. A national news update is on the way, and for the very last time for this term of council, a good morning to the Dubbo Region Mayor Matthew Dickerson. Exciting voting tomorrow. Now, we don't want to get too much into that, but is there a right way to vote or a wrong way to vote?
There's certainly instructions on the ballot paper, so I'll give a very brief instruction there, which is not biased in any way because there are two ways to vote. There are boxes above a line, and if you write a number in one of those boxes, a number 1 for example, then that means you've completed a valid vote, and that will vote for the 6 people below that box automatically. Or you can actually go below the line, and there are 48 boxes below the line with 48 names beside those boxes, and you can write numbers down there. To make it a valid vote, you must number to at least the number 6. So you need to find 6 people below the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can keep going past 6.
I was going to ask, can you do that?
You
but
can.
You've got to do at least 6. I can't do 4 or 5 below the line.
That's correct. So it's a bit more complicated going below the line, but it means you're choosing the 6 or 10 or 11 or 15 that you want to vote for, rather when you go above the line, that's where those groups have chosen the 6 that you're voting for.
Yeah, for sure. A little bit different to, I guess, Cobar and was it Warren, where I read that the councillors, there was only enough candidates to fill the positions and no one needs to vote there, but we have to vote.
That's right, and it's probably a sign of a good democracy when you've got people interested in being on council, so that's an exciting thing that you've got lots of people there, not being critical of Warren or Cobar or any places that didn't have enough people, but it is a good sign of democracy here where people are interested in what's happening on council, probably because they listen to 2U each week and they get really excited about all the things that are happening.
This is right, keeping them informed. Now, for those people that are critical of council, obviously now is how they can have their voice to vote who they think should be leading council or at least on council as councillors, correct?
Well, I would say if people are critical of council, they've got that ability every single day.
Sure.
All the councillors have got their email addresses, their phone numbers on the website. I've talked to people before, sometimes I say, oh, I'd like you to come along to a certain location so you can talk to people and hear from those people. And I've said, that's fine, but don't wait until we have that community leaders breakfast, for example. We've already introduced those. Don't wait until the next community leaders breakfast. Pick up the phone or send an email through. If you've got an issue, deal with it straight away. And I know councillors are very receptive to that. Again, they are all quite happy to advertise their phone numbers and their email addresses so that people can contact them. But you also see people out and about on the street. My kids joke with me from the very first time I got on council that if I was going to the supermarket to pick up some milk, then they'd see me in an hour. And that's fine, that's part of the role, but you can communicate with council anytime. You mightn't get an instant answer because the person might be at their job or busy, but you can communicate with councillors anytime.
Brings me to my next point. Tomorrow we're voting. Does any business happen after that? I know we're in caretaker mode. Is there any outstanding business for council at this point going into the election tomorrow that needs to get done? Is it going to get done?
Well, it's an interesting time. So at midnight tonight, councillors cease to be councillors. So tomorrow, we're all citizens, all 10 of us are just citizens. Today, they're all councillors and I'm still the mayor. And so it is a bit confusing because what happens next week, for example, I've got invitations there for the mayor of the city to come along and cut the ribbon or do an opening or welcome people to the city or whatever. There's no one. They changed the Local Government Act. If I go back to 2012, I was mayor at the day and there was an election in 2012. But from the election time through to the declaration of the election and the first meeting to elect the mayor, I was still the mayor during that time. So I still carried out the duties of the mayor, cutting ribbons, cutting cakes, whatever the mayor might do of the day. But they've changed it now. So as of tonight, no, and it's been disappointing because there's some various functions, some ones that I would love to go along and attend as mayor, and people are a bit frustrated, disappointed, annoyed that I can't go along and represent them because they might have a function, an event organised. It's nice to have the mayor come along and welcome people or thank them for their great efforts or whatever it might be. So that's an interesting point there that change has happened there. The next mayoral election should be the 3rd of October because the declaration of the election should happen in about 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
Yep.
So you can't do anything until, well, you or any councillor after tomorrow that's elected until the 3rd of October. So Murray Wood, as the Chief Executive Officer, can't stand in for you?
Well, the Local Government Act specifically says that the mayor is the person responsible for civic and ceremonial duties, not the CEO.
Okay.
Now, we did do,
Even during caretaker period.
even
Sorry,
during caretaker period, but caretaker irrelevant because we've still got the mayor and councillors, but even
Okay.
during, I would call the limbo period.
Yeah.
And we do have the ability, or go back one step, I suppose, from a powers perspective. So the councillors and the mayor have certain powers. We resolved previously to give the CEO delegated authority to do things while there's no council there. So that's basically making sure that decisions can be made, decisions that might need, if there was a flood, for example, the mayor might need to make emergency decisions. There's emergency powers the mayor's got.
Okay.
Oh, there's no mayor, so what does Murray Wood do? Well, we've delegated authority to basically make those decisions in the absence of council. In terms of civic and ceremonial duties, that's something, it's a bit vague in the Act, but you could probably resolve to appoint the CEO to undertake civic and ceremonial duties. We didn't do that, so there's a limbo period there. So my apologies to any of those organisations that have already reached out or may reach out in the future. There is no mayor or representative to go along to those various events.
All right, let's get through it quickly because I'm running out of time. You've presented some checks. We've run a few of those names in, of course, our news this morning and yesterday. So these are community service organisations that you've presented checks to?
3 different cheque presentations we did yesterday: Community Services Fund, the Destination Events Fund, and another Destination Fund. So there's 3 different funds there. One of the things that we've talked about previously, but again, it'll be up to a new council if they go further with this, we used to have 4 different funds, and we said, feedback from the community, that's complicated because they're volunteer groups. So we've taken that down to 3 event funds, but
Okay.
we're keen as this group of councillors, but again, new group, to say, well, 3 groups, 3 different funds, that can still be confusing. Volunteer organisations, not a lot of time. Let's roll them into one fund, so we've just got one fund that organisations can apply to. At the moment, there are 3 different ones. One's focused on economic delivery, one's focused on social and economic benefits, and the other one's the Community Services Fund. So let's change that. Hopefully that will still go forward.
Okay, that'll make things easier. You've got an opening today officially, but ahead of tomorrow's election.
Well, this is opening at the school at South High, or South Campus, sorry. So effectively this is a new sports complex, state government, but again, obviously they like the mayor to come along there. So, yep, I've basically will go along there and still probably be my last official duty as the mayor. And then this afternoon, councillors will be going along. I don't have a formal council iPad, but the other 9 councillors have iPads there given by councillors. I'll be handing all those back in and their cards to get in the building. All those sort of things will happen this afternoon.
Did your eyes just get teary?
I'm tearing up here a bit.
Last one. Matt, I'm from management here at 2UN FM, our sister station. We thank council for being so honest, and in particular yourself and Murray Wood coming along and keeping us up to date and being transparent during that time. So thank you, and good luck to you and all the councillors and all the candidates in tomorrow's election.
Yeah, thank you. And from my perspective, Brett, I don't think we've missed a week, apart from when you haven't been on air, say Christmas time. I don't think we've missed a week. Sometimes we've had to juggle around. You've been good enough to come in Thursday nights for me sometimes after council meetings, and we've juggled around on the phone. But thank you, to you, for allowing me to come along each week, because Section 226 of the Act says that I need to be the spokesperson for council. I need places to be able to talk about things. 2U's done that. But also a big thank you to my fellow councillors. It's been a very cohesive group. We've had different debates, different discussions at different angles, and that's all healthy debate. But ultimately, as a cohesive group, you haven't seen front pages of the paper with us fighting and saying we've got no confidence in each other, all sorts of things like happened in the last council. So it's been a very cohesive group with good, healthy debate. So thanks to my fellow councillors, thanks to Murray Wood, all the staff. It's all wonderful for us councillors to say, let's go and do something, but the staff have to actually do that. So thank you to them, and thank you to all your listeners, because when they hear things on the show, I do get direct feedback, so there's lots of people out listening. So thank you to all of those, Brett.
Whatever happens, we would like to continue moving forward with the next elected council and mayor as well. Thank you, Matt. Running out of time here at 2U, coming up to that 8 o'clock National News Update.